DJ from PTA, going over the trade on Nuro that I placed on Friday. Friday was a slow day. I actually placed this trade and had to leave from the desk. So I want to go over two trades that look pretty good. One was SIGA, other one was Nuro. Again, guys, I kind of played a small trade on Nuro. That's why the numbers were so low. But the real move was on SIGA. SIGA is playing into the Monkeypox situation, and there's a few names that be out there. EBS, which I went over, which was one of my losses previous days. But those are pretty much the ones that are going to probably be on the radar over the next couple of days when it comes down to trades with this monkeypox situation. That's going to probably bring some more noise to some of these stocks. So let me go over EBS. EBS yesterday, or I should say Friday, did a move up, a leg up. So the day I played it was on the 19th. It actually moved on the 20th. So let's go over the day. We'll break this down into the hour. So coming into the hour, this was the trade that I was looking for. It kind of bounced, went sideways, and then it faded. So unfortunately, we just didn't get that energy that we were looking for after this big run up. It went sideways, and then I guess they kind of released the shares out the following day. Breaking it down to the 5-minute, you can kind of see where we didn't really get any volume till late in the day. I mean, again, this stock is a 50 million float, 3.2 million in volume, which was on Friday the 20th, but it really didn't do much of a move. So I think it's getting set up for it, basically with again, it's in that sector move. Might be a hot sector coming into next week. But you know, we had us a little push, pull back, and then you got a little bit of a rip. It came back and just never really hold its gains. Did manage to get the 37 after hours. Now take this back. Let me go over the actual trade I placed on Friday, which was with Nuro. Nuro, I was playing it off of the previous day. Again, if you go back to my previous video, the previous day didn't hold for the rip, made a small gain, but missed this massive rip right off of the fours. So the line in the sand for this one was right around $4. That's pretty much where everybody was looking at. So it was $4 on the move. 430 was the trigger, and let's see something here. 485 was the sentiment move. So what I mean by that is this is the area where it sort of hung at. So if you look at the chart the way I'm looking at it right now, and this is off the hour, you can see the big run up, the pull back. They consolidated heavily under the 430, which is the 430 area. When they actually pulled that down, they never got it below the 4. I mean, I had a point average of about 417 on this one and just didn't hold. It kept getting me out. So I was on this trade, as I talked about before in my previous video, I didn't respect the risk. What I mean by respecting the risk is just allowing it to play out. It didn't hit my wrist. I got in for a short gain and actually missed the meat of the move because of it. So what I always tell traders is if you're gonna respect your risk, let it etch out. In most cases, it didn't reach out, and that's kind of the reason why I end up not placing a trade and really getting in on this trade like I should have. This would have been easily a nice a nice day based on the amount of shares that I had in that position. So honestly, this was just an oversight. So coming into today with the volume and everything, and then it holding pre-market, it ended up holding that area and coming down. So right there at that 485, this is the area that it pushed out from before after hours yesterday. It pushed down and kind of pulled back down under there and just didn't come back and return. When it came back and reflected and hold 430, I took a position there. I think my position was at 441. The stock ended up moving a little higher. I think it got up to like 460s and started stalling out. So I ended up just taking a quick profit. And I was risking to 4. So my idea was I'll squeeze in here at the trigger, and then if it do get me out, take it lower. But honestly, what ended up happening is the stock kept going sideways. Do I think it's over with? Maybe, might be. Got to wait to the next trading day to really see how it opens. If it gets under 4 and stay heavy under 4, then I think it will be gone. Probably return back to the 3s or whatnot. But ultimately, that's what I was looking at in that trade. So to kind of zero it in, breaking it down to the 5-minute, you can kind of see where the little pockets and zones were. And then once they stepped it up right here is when they took the rip. Came back, stayed heavy under 485, came back with the retest, which was a great short coming into the day. It came back. When it rebound here, it's about right here is where I took my trade and rolled it up. It ended up getting up to about 460. I think once it got up to about right here, I just started taking profit. I got about a 10-12 cent per share win on it. It just wasn't moving. It just didn't give the move that it needed to move. I was looking for more of a bounce after this. After they got past this fourth third, I was thinking it would go further up, but you know, as you can see, the volume kind of dried up on it. So I ended up taking that trade, and that was that. Now, ultimately, that trade didn't play out as planned. The trade that really was really good was the one that was shouted out in our Discord. Trade King 313 actually put that one in there, and that was on SIGA. So this particular trade, breakout again, monkeypox information, had a beautiful pattern on the daily, and this one actually popped up on the radar. Now the interesting part about this one is coming into it, let's go down to the hour. Coming into it, he had a little bit of price action pre-market. You know, wasn't a lot of price action. Probably did most of his price action right at the 9 o'clock hour into the day. So let me break this down to a 30-minute to kind of give you an idea. Again, most of the volume came in after that 30-minute. So the volume ahead of time was kind of sideways, really didn't do anything. So you definitely wanted to wait for it to get a leg up. When it did this retracted stage, and I kind of break that down on the 5-minute, this is where you kind of have to keep an eye on your swing high, swing lows. Ultimately, it was very choppy out the gate. Then it kind of went up, pulled back, went up, pulled back. But ultimately, this is probably the area. And let me go back to the 1 minute to kind of look at price. Yeah, about right here was your area of getting in. Now, one of the things you want to look at when you're getting into a trade is who is it taking out, what is it moving to, and also what's your risk. So right here would have been an excellent risk. Could have been off the day, but honestly, you would have waited till you got a pushback. You probably could have entered here, right here, and then actually risking it here. So that would have gave you a nice risk to reward, about 30 cent, 36 cent. Or you could have waited until you got a full push, pull back. And honestly, you know, looking at it, you probably would have wanted to wait for an actual retest. Looking at the chart, you know, it was holding VWAP. So for a lot of times, for a lot of traders, that's a good sign that this stock got some legs, that it can possibly move. And what you're looking for is just that pinpoint entry of where you can get in after it's being held and then really take advantage of a swing and take it out. So one of the best areas would have been about right there. Right here would have been a good area, risking to here, or even risking it here, which would have been 20 cent, 22 cent, and then watching it play out. And from there, it went higher. Even on the first push, went to $1.57. So you figure a 20 cent risk, $1.57 move. You can't really complain about that. That's a good risk to reward. For the rest of the day, it kind of went choppy. Had a couple jerk moves and then went sideways. Again, guys, when I always talk about sideways price action, You always want to take it to a higher time frame to get you an idea. So after this big run up, you had a little slight pullback. People probably entered here and just kind of went sideways for the rest of the day. As you build it out to higher time frames, you kind of give you an idea where it was. From me looking at the chart, it pretty much held this area here. This looks like this would have been your zone, the 1083 area. So filling in and then allowing it to rip, this was just a lot of traffic trying to pull it down. But again, you got a lot of volume that came into this. You're talking about a 72 million float. It rotated its flow to 81 million, and it was just going. So tomorrow, this will be on watch. This will be one of those plays that you want to take a look at and say to yourself, hey, let me keep an eye on this one because it was a runner the day before. And I assume it may get some more volume into the pre-market tomorrow. But honestly, we'll see exactly how it's going to play out. You know, we don't have a fortune cookie, but you can kind of tell based on the price action where it may go. Now, one of the things I want to do too is kind of go over some other stocks that may be going because they're all in the same sector. One of those stocks is probably going to be, and let me get this pulled up for you. So again, I talked about EBS. So just get you familiar with the chart. So you got EBS. That's going to be one that may run. And it's all part of that Monkeypox situation. INO. And this one might be one of those low floats that go kind of crazy if it gets legs. It's something you want to keep your eye on. Another one would be Tnxp. Another low float. That's something that you want to keep an eye on. Again, it's already hit its bottom. It's setting up for a good pattern. The next one, VMRX. I'm sorry, let me just go back to that. I gotta get that one for you. Give me 1 second here.